statement.
Recording in progress.
Right,
we're ready to go. Okay, we'll start with the statement. This being recorded and it will be available online. If later on, if you're not happy with this, please leave the meeting now. Okay. The first item is to elect a chair for the authority until the next annual meeting. We've received a number of nominations, so just one name, so there won't be an election. And Edgar will be chair for the next year. We move on to item 2, to elect a vice chair. Once again, one name has been put forward, and it's Ivar's name, Ivar Lloyd. So Ivar Lloyd will be the vice chair until the next annual meeting. Has anybody apologized? The chair's announced. The first instance, I'd like to welcome Ivar back following his surgery, and we wish him well. To defer to Sharon Warren's death with the Standards Committee chair. Those who are on Cyngor Gwynedd, you would as well. It takes some time to think. Can I suggest that we spend a quiet moment of reflection? Thank you very much. I'd like to confirm we did send a card to express our sympathies to the family. Before we move on, Chair, I'd like to congratulate you as a chair and Ivar as vice chair for being re-elected, and I'd like to wish you good health as well, both of you. It's great to see Ivar back following his treatment, and Edgar has also been received treatment on his eyes. I'd like, Chair, to extend our sympathies with Keith O'Brien's family as well. He was worked for the PAC and he died suddenly. You've sent a card as well, haven't you? Yes. Keith is a huge loss to the area. Okay. Right. We'll now move on to Brian. This is Brian's last meeting of the authority. Been represented Welsh Government for 8 years, and Brian has contributed constantly to the authority and several committees during this period, and his contribution has been greatly appreciated, and we have appreciated all his comments throughout this time. He will a huge loss. We'll miss his contributions, and I'd like to thank you very much as Chair for your 8 years of service.
Thank you very much. It's been an interesting 8 years.
I'd like to welcome 2 new members appointed by Welsh Government, Rhys Evans and Wyn Thomas. Is this your first authority meeting? It's your second. Okay.
Yeah. I'd
like to welcome Martin Hughes, the Standards Committee, who will be presenting their annual report. And I think it's his last meeting as well. Yeah, Martin has been on the Standards Committee for 9 years. And his time is coming to an end now in July.
I'd
like to thank you very much for all his work during this period. And John, the Chief Executive, is joining us virtually today. I'd like to leave the committee earlier, so we're changing 1 or 2 of the items on the agenda. We went to the UK National Parks. We both went to the meeting in the Peak District a fortnight, 3 weeks ago. I think John is going to report about that. So we'll move on to number 4 now. Thank you, Chair. I hope that you can all hear me. Apologies. I missed item 3. I'd like to say, I meant to say that I apologize. As the Chair has said, I need to leave at 11:15. I've got a doctor's appointment which just changed last minute, so I'll have to leave in about 40 minutes, I'm afraid. So apologies for that. And I apologize that I'm online today. I'd like to congratulate you, Chair, and the Vice Chair for your re-election this morning. Just a couple of things from myself with regards to updates. I'll just open this up. We visited about a fortnight ago. Officers from the Triglav National Park came over to see us. Members are aware that we have a twinning program in place with that national park, and 4 members joined us, and the officers took them around different locations in the park and showed them the challenges that we face. And it was of great benefit to them, and we learned a lot from them as well. There are several things that we have in common between both parks. So it was a good experience. And I'd like to thank you, Chair. You joined us for lunch in Betws-y-Coed as well. That was very successful. Just a quick update on Plas Tân y Bwlch. We don't have a paper on this today, but as you know, work is moving forward in a positive manner. We've met several times with different stakeholders and key partners, and the feedback that we receive is extremely positive at the moment. So that's that's a positive update. Just to give you an update on the timetable, we've noticed that we've been slightly too ambitious with regards to presenting the development phase of the project by the summer. We're appointing consultants to help us with this application, but it won't be ready by summer. And the revised timetable that we prepared shows that we're aiming to present the development phase plan by February 2026. That will give us enough time to work, to do a good job on it. I think the time between then and now is very extremely important. I will present an update on Plas Tanabulch at the next authority meeting in September, or the meeting in September. I'd like to congratulate the Geraint George Scholarship, Becca Fleur Williams from Aberystwyth. And I'd like to thank the Vice Chair for presenting the scholarship to Becca in the Steddfod yr Urdd in Margam last month. Becca will now, the winner, will visit a Triglav Park in Slovenia as part of the prize. It's a fantastic prize. So those of you who aren't aware of the scholarship, it was set up jointly between the Parc Natural Resources Wales and the Earth in memory of Geraint George. And the aim of the scholarship is to develop communicators for the future in the environmental sector. So I'd like to thank Ivar for presenting that award. And just for your information, because Caernarfon will be sponsoring the Royal Welsh Show this year, that there's an event tomorrow in Hafod y Llan. Tomorrow, the PAC has supported the show where we will be there in attendance tomorrow. I will be there myself for most of the day. So if anybody wants to pop over to have a chat with us, there will be a team on the park stand. So hopefully it'll be a successful event. And just a quick update on signing the twinning plan with the Los Averses pack from Patagonia. I think there is a slight delay in the signing because some staff changes have happened on a managerial level over the past 2 months. There's no problem. It's just a matter of staff changes, really. So we will be setting at a new date for the signing of the contract, possibly in National Eisteddfod, but we're not quite sure yet. So there will be an update to that item today. I was supposed to present that. Possibly I will have left by the time we reach that item. So Iwan will take over from there. And also, Chair, maybe I should have said, is it possible for me to move item 21 and 22? I think that I should present those today to follow straight after item 9 in the programme. I will still be here by the time we get to item 9. I'll just present those 2 reports this morning if you're happy for me to make those changes. I'd also like to thank Brian. Brian has been a member with us for 8 years, as the chair has already mentioned, and his commitment to the authority has been fantastic. It's obviously somebody with a passion for the sector and for this area as well. And that has come through in his work. And personally, I have really enjoyed working with Brian. And I know from feedback that I received from staff in the authority that Brian's worked with, they've really enjoyed working with him over the years. So I'd like to thank you very much, Brian. I know you've got a planning committee coming up as well, but I'd like to thank you for all your work for the authority, and good luck in the future. And whilst we're on members, just like I can announce that we've got a new member for starting next month, Dr. Salmat Fada. Dr. Fada works for the University in Bangor, and she'll be starting on the 1st of July. So between Dr. Fada and the other 2 members who are quite new, Wyn and Rhys, and also Delyth Lloyd, the Councillor Delyth Lloyd, will organise an induction phase for you over the next few months. So just keep an eye out for that. And that's it for myself. Just for your information, I attended Keith O'Brien's funeral last week. So the PAC was represented there, and there was his work for the PAC was mentioned quite often during the funeral as well. So that's all from myself. Thank you very much. Thank you. So we'll move on. Does anybody want to? Louise, does Louise have anything she'd like to say? No.
I just going to come in first. Yeah. That's all right. We'll have a second.
Hello, Louise. You should be able to hear me now. Can you hear me now, Louise? Yes, you can hear me. Lovely, great. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Great. So nobody for item 5, so we'll move on to 6, declarations of interest by members or officers. I'd like to declare an interest with item 29. The shortlist for the land management appointment. I'm a close friend with one of the parents of one of the applicants, so it's only fair that I pull out of that item. So do you include 27 as well? As well, yes. So 27 and 29 then. Okay, Champion, thank you. So we'll move on to the membership of the authority, number 7. There's a list of your names here. The only thing that they ask, if the officers would be grateful if you could give us permission for your names and the email and your contact number and your preferred contact number and corporate email address could be published on the authority's website. Is there anyone against what? What was the list? Your phone number, email, and your address. I think it's the email address is the only thing that we show. And that's a discussion what has been included in the paper. Is anyone against it? Everybody agree? The only thing that I'd ask is if you could just check that the details which are on the list against your name, if there are any mistakes, because there have been mistakes in the past, if you could let us know as officers as soon as possible. Can I just check that it says in the paper that it does say address, your home address? Well, we don't publish that. It's your email address and name. That's what we publish. As a matter of course on our website. Okay, we move on to item 7. No, that was number 7. Number 8, the minutes of the authority. Number 7. Minutes of the authority meeting held on the 30th of April 2025. Would anyone like to propose that they're correct? I propose that they're the correct record. Anyone like to second? Everyone in favour? Okay. To matters arising. Anyone have anything? I don't see any hands up anywhere. Okay, we'll move on to item 9. Item 10.
Saflan with Diwan, which
Dan ni'n mynd i...
Oh, 21 dan.
Moving on to item 21, because John wants to,
Dalen,
which is on page 102. Thank you, Chair. Once again, apologies that I'm moving things around here. As you can see from this report, I'd like to extend the well-being objectives that we have in place to April 2027. As you can see, they were supposed to run in 2026. So I'm acting for an extension of their use for a further year. Just for those of you who aren't aware, I'm sure that you all are, the well-being future generations has asked us to set these objectives. Some members who were around at the time remember us preparing them in 2020. It's quite a lengthy process to draw them out. There's got lots of consultation and the direction we should take. So the process does take a few months. When we presented this, we announced the well-being statement in 2021 as opposed to the last 5 years, which was supposed to be until 2026. Members will be aware there has been a direct connection between our well-being objectives and the Cynllunio. We have tied in the objectives of Cynllunio into the objectives of the well-being statement. So both things tie in, work side by side. So that's the main reason, really, that I've asked for this extension. Because as you were aware, Cynllunio will be starting, it will be reviewed this year. Angela will have got in touch with most of you, if not all of you, on the different symposiums that we're preparing now to undertake that work. And we hope that Cynllunio will be completed by next summer. So that's the reason that I think it would be better that we reviewed this well-being statement by the time when the previous Cynllunio comes to an end. And there's also an advantage, as I've noted in the report. We have 2 new directors. Will there be a new management team, or half a new management team starting over the coming weeks? Kira will start next week. And hopefully we'll be able to appoint a land management manager by summer or possibly September. So this extension will give them time to take ownership on the new well-being objectives that we set. So that's our recommendation, or the recommendation at the end of the report, to extend the existing well-being objectives by 12 months and to commence the review of well-being objectives once Cynllunio has been adopted at the AGM next year in 2026, with a view to adopting them in April 27. And we will present a more detailed timetable as things move forward. Thank you. Tim, I just wanted to support. I think there's a sufficient reasoning for us to continue with them for a year, and then everything will move in sync in the future then, so hopefully we'll be able to continue in sync together. So I'd like to recommend it. I'd like to propose that the reason are quite clear. The only question that I had, Jan, if I can, do we need to allow the Commissioner for the Future Generations know about this, or is this a decision that we can take? Do we have ownership for that decision? This decision is we have responsibility for this decision. Just because it's a statutory requirement, I just thought it would be it'd be quite sensible to let everyone know, just so that we could confirm the reason. But I was going to Support, yeah. I'd like to second it, yes. Anyone else like to talk? No?
Yeah, I would actually, Chair.
Yeah.
I mean, they all seem very laudable aims, but how can you quantify some of them, like resilient communities, maintaining and increasing the quality of life of residents, which is plummeting on a weekly basis? Basic things. I mean, I don't know if we as an authority can have any influence at all. Bus connections, availability of.
If I can come in on that, Louise, they're very important points, and it's important that they are measurable objectives. Obviously, you refer to the present challenges we're facing. When it comes to review time, it's we need to ensure that they are fit for purpose. I think that they are measurable as they stand now, the objectives which are in the report, but they will all have an opportunity to have input on the new objectives when it comes time to review them next year. If I can add to that, John, the way that we measure how we achieve these well-being objectives are that we have a partnership, a corporate partnership, which is adopted and we agree on them each year. And then that is reported back in the annual report, their findings. So there are a number of different areas which have an impact on these objectives. So I am happy that we can show that the work that we do contribute to the well-being objectives. I think I just sort of. Right. If nobody else wants to say anything, there is a proposal and a seconder. Would you like to have a show of hands on the table, please? Now we'll move on to 22. It's on page 117. Thank you, Chair. This is a quick one, I think. What we're asking for here in this report is to ask if you as members want us to have representation at the Europac conference. It will be held in October this year. As you can see, it will be held in Lithuania. This authority has supported Europac for a number of years. It is a body, as you can see in the opening paragraph, which represents rural areas throughout Europe, and something I do feel that we do benefit from and have benefited from over the years. The themes in the conference, as you can see in 2.2, discuss the nature for people for nature. I won't go into more detail about that. The costs are there for registration. So we receive a discount if we register before August. So I just want to ask us if you want us, if National Park to be represented there. And then myself and the chair and the vice chair and the chair will decide who will attend the conference. We will need members and
I'd like to propose that the park does carry on being represented at Europark. I attended one of these 2 or 3 years ago, and it was one of the most transformational conferences that I went on. The connections that you make with people deeply ingrained in the subject was brilliant, and the topic for me opened my eyes to the issues which were to do with climate change in a way that I don't think I could have achieved in another way. So I thoroughly propose that we continue.
Anyone like to second that? Anybody else like to talk on the matter? We just agree with the report. Yes, it is a useful, it's very valuable. I was at the same one as Brian. And I gained a lot of seeing the people's perspective who deal with the same challenges or dealing with people and in conservation at the same time. It's very valuable. Can I just ask, Chair, if anyone would like to attend, if they could get in touch with myself or with the Chair, and we'll try and decide who will attend on our behalf. Thank you. Nobody else? We'll go to a vote. That's carried. We'll go back now to item 10. The action sheet. I think Iwan is taking this. To remain on the list until we've appointed, and the management team will be back up to 4. So the matter remain as it is for now. So we move on to point 11. Well, I can take this. John will lead on this. I'd have thought that I would have left by this point, but I'm still here for another 10 minutes. All this is for you to note who attends or who will represent us on different committees, on different groups. Those of you who were on the groups have been noted in this report, as you can see. So it's up to you really how you want to manage this process, Chair. Maybe one thing that we should note is that obviously we have Brian. His period is coming to an end at the end of this month. So we'll need to appoint someone in his place. I'd like to note as well that I mentioned Dr. Salma Tufanda, who will start on the 1st of July. I haven't met her yet, but I think her areas of expertise include the environmental issues, climate change, so quite possibly. So there may be there's some connection there with what Brian has, with the committees that Brian has been on in the past, but I have to remember that Salma Tufanda is also in some of these groups. We have Wyn and Rhys as well. I think that Wyn, just for information, may be relevant for you as you choose for different groups. Wyn has a background in the corporate and the management side. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And Rhys in the heritage sector with a background in planning. Just for information, maybe that could be useful as you go through the different groups. I'll pass it over to you to take us through the different chairs, the different groups. The first one is the planning committee. Everybody's on that, aren't they? Number 3, standards committee. Standards committee. That appointment is for a period of 4 years. So that's not relevant for this item. Number 2 on the panels. Yields panel, is that for the standards as well? The standards committee choose the members of this panel. So Wyn. Inspection panels. We have the Northern and Southern. I'm happy with that. Maybe there's Brian has the potential to be on one. Can possibly go to one inspection panel before he leaves. There's a planning committee at the end of this month. I take it that Brian will be there. So Brian can remain on the final inspection panel this month, but it's worth changing Bellum for Salma Tufanda after that. I'm on the Northern panel at the moment. It's almost as easy for me to reach the one in the south, or maybe easier for Dr. Thelmafada to attend the northern one. That's what I was going to say. So you'll swap with.
No, dyna'n iawn, wir.
Ydy hynna ar ôl I Brian?
Is that after Brian leaves, is it? So Brian will continue in the southern panel, and then we'll swap then. And then when Brian's period comes to an end. Okay, we'll move on to number 3. Working groups. Members working group, all authority members are on that one. Local joint working. There are 4 members here.
Ga gynnig y 4 enw, cadeirydd ystod y fodlon.
Can I propose the 4 names if they're willing? All in agreement? Okay, on to number 3. Ysgol Management Board. Propose that they stay as is, if they're willing, as follows. There are no vacant seats, are there? 3, 4. Plas and Bwlch Management Board. Propose that they say the same. Do they actually meet or not? There hasn't been a meeting for quite some time, actually, because of the developments with Plas. I think it's a good thing that the board continues to exist, but we don't know how we will need to implement the model as we go forward, as we submit the grant applications. But I would imagine that we should continue with the Plas and Bwlch Management Board, and if you're happy, then that gives us a mechanism. Are the 3 members happy? Show of hands. Thank you. Elwyn and Tegid as follows. There's 1 vacant seat on this one. Welsh Government. We have to have 1 from Welsh Government on this one. If nobody else wants to be on this one, then I'm willing.
Sorry. Nick Reid, so
Propose Reid?
Yeah, so bydd chi yn deud bod Tim yn mynd yn drydydd o'r hanner.
So Tim will become the 3rd on behalf of the authority. I'm appointed as, I see, in relation to the local appointed members. So he's to replace Brian there then. So the vacant one for a councillor, this one. Can we have a nomination? Proposed delegate? No, thank you. To go for a cup of tea with a councillor.
John Pugh.
John Pugh.
Iawn, da ni 4-1 fi'n neud. 4-2, fforwm Eryri.
4-2, Fforwm Eryri. As follows. And Brian was also there on behalf of the Welsh Government. Joe, are you happy to remain on that?
I found it clashes with our Conway site visits. I've missed a couple due to that meeting, so whether that's going to continue to be on a Tuesday morning, I don't know. So whether it's best if I swap off.
I'm also on that as Vice Chair, but I'm also on the Planning Committee in Conway. And it happens on Friday. Oh, sorry, no, he changed it to Tuesday morning. So, should we look at changing the committee, do you think? Yes, but they're, the committees are set in a calendar as is, aren't they, really? But I think Ifor should be on it as vice chair. If I heard you correctly, John, that is, that the vice chair needs to be on for Eryri. So continue with Ifor, the chair and vice chair. But they're going to clash every time, that's the only thing. In the future, can we maybe look at the dates, if possible? Well, have a word with Angela and see what can be done, because otherwise there is going to be a clash every time. Well, some of the time at least. Joe has said that she may move somewhere else. Are you also on planning, like you said?
So then you should and say Joe and did that.
So do we need somebody to replace Joe? Should we get one from Gwynedd and one from Conwy? Do we have two, is what I mean. Well, that's the intention, really, that we get a representation from across the park. As it happens, Ifor is from Conwy. But it doesn't follow. For this year, we can have a look at it, perhaps. Meryl is also willing. Really? With Ifor representing Conwy. Obviously, you're one from Conwy, and Joe's from Conwy. As long as we understand if there will be a change in the vice chair, then we will have to have a representative from Conwy. So who are we putting forward? Meryl has been put forward. Now we need somebody from Welsh Government to replace Brian.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry,
So Delyth Lloyd representing the Welsh Government then.
Yeah.
Okay, 4.3. We need 2 authority members, and they have 4 meetings every quarter. John Pugh and Tim Jones. If I can come in there. If you really want to attend, please put your name forward. Nominate yourselves, or, nominate somebody else. Because there are so many of you, it's hard to pick up on what's going on here. So, are we happy with Tim and John Pugh? Everybody in favour? 4-4? Strategic Planning Subcommittee? Chair of the Authority, Vice Chair, Chair of Planning and Access. You were elected the last time. Do you want to continue? Yes. Everybody in agreement? Northern Corporate Joint Committee, Chair of the Authority. And John's also on it. You're the main representative, Chair, but I also attend the meeting. Apologies, I have to leave now. Bye for now. Okay, are we happy with that? On to number 5, task and finish groups and steering groups. Asset subgroup as listed in front of you. Suppose that the new member is there instead of Brian. Tim Jones is on there and Wyn Thomas is on there. Is every one of those happy to continue? We need somebody to replace Brian. There's nobody on from Conway on that. Does that matter or not? Ifor is. Informal discussion at the moment. We need somebody to replace Brian. There are 2 from Gwynedd, 2 from Welsh Government. Wouldn't it be suitable or appropriate to have 2 from Conwy as well? Ifor, okay, well there will be, yes, okay, there we are then.
Right, 5-2 wan.
5-2, we're doing quite well at the moment. So proposed a Naomi wants to come in here. I thought I was on the carbon group, and so did I. But you're on the working group. If they don't make decisions, this is where the decisions are made. Naomi, therefore, and the new member to replace Brian, because he's an expert on this in this element.
So
new member Naomi, Tim, and John Pugh. So there's 1 more vacant seat. Anyone? It would be an idea to have a member in this vacant seat, because we only have 1 county council member there. Propose Einir. Thank you.
Iawn. Da ni'n ymlaen I 5-3 wan, ia?
5.3. Please name steering group. Please. He specializes. So is Elwyn Edwards and 2 vacant seats. I'd be interested in going on this as well. I'll propose Gareth Lloyd. I'm interested in going on it too, but I'm happy to withdraw. I'm happy for you to go on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elwyn and Ellis. Are you happy with that? But if Ellis is happy to go on it, I'm happy with that. 1 from Gwynedd, 1 from Conway, and 1 from Welsh Government is the situation. So it's quite a nice mix to have. On to items number 6, other bodies. Trawsfynydd is a stakeholder group, Elfed. Happy to continue. There's a meeting next week, I believe. Everybody happy with that? 6.2. 1 member, Louise Hughes.
No problem with that. I was checking my junk file, and all the invitations went to that. So I did reply saying there's a problem. and didn't get a reply to my response. And I've also had, I don't know whether it's me being a Luddite, because I don't have an aptitude for technology. I haven't had any invitations at all to the the Dovey Biosphere Partnership. So whether it's a problem with my email address, I don't know.
We have meetings of Dovey Biosphere.
Syniad, I haven't had any invitations.
It's a different matter to election or electing. Could we note that technical issue there? And we'll refer it to IT. So are you happy to carry on with that? Yes. Everybody happy? Thank you. I'll take 6.3 campaign for national parks. Tim Jones and one vacant seat. Once again, there's nothing's happened there since I've been representing the authority. Happy to stay. So we're talking about the Alliance for Welsh Designated Landscapes. So 6.5, WLGA.
I'm interested in that, Chair.
Marie's House. 6.6, Benllyn ar Sarnau, Marie's House.
Again, I haven't had an invitation, so I'm jinxed.
Do they meet?
Didn't they? Haven't had any invitations.
We'll check and see. I'll refer it to IT. Are you happy to be on it? Are you happy to remain on it?
Yes.
If you're invited, obviously. So 6.7. Einir is also willing to be on that. On 6.7 because she's already on it. Okay, happy. 6.8. Elfed. So you've been attending those meetings. Thank you. Louise again on the Dovey ISV partnership 6.9.
Dovey Biosphere.
Yes. I will tell it next time.
Yes, please, John.
Hwnna sorted? Iawn? Pawb yn hapus? A ni rŵan I...
Everybody happy? On to the last one. Cambrian Railway. Can we change Delyth Lloyd Griffith and myself? I've represented Liz Saville Roberts on that meeting. So you'll be in reserve. Okay, thank you. Okay, those are sorted. Now on to item 12. Members' attendance. First of all, can I apologise? I'm only reporting on attendance, of course. Edgar has attended 6 of the authorities' meeting. And that does have an effect on the numbers, of course. So the attendance of the authority has increased to 90%, and the total is 84%. Which means that we are much it's a good result. Those changes in the figures are a good thing. And the rest of the report, to be honest, is self-explanatory. And the recommendation is that it is submitted to you for information purposes only. I've made a difference finally. So on to item 13, the authorities AGM. Martin is introducing this. It's a report by the chair of the Standards Committee. If you would, Martin, please. Good morning, everybody. I'm here as chair of the Standards Committee on behalf of the authority to present the annual report.
And certain other duties as outlined in the report. And this is the annual report it must be to the authority. Sure that the functions have been discharged and setting out a new review of standards matters. Nothing dramatic here.
So I'm aware, Martin, some having difficulty picking up what you're saying. Could you just speak a little bit louder, if that's possible?
The committee is charged with promoting high standards of conduct by members and certain other duties as outlined in the report. It must make this annual report to the authority describing how its functions have been discharged and setting out a new review of standard matters. Nothing dramatic. I'm pleased to recommend the report for the members to discuss and agree the concepts. Thank you.
Well, I mean, we're looking another drawing at item 3.
You can see from the report on item 13 the relevant part, but the relevant part is under paragraph, well, it's between 9 and 15 really, and what the committee has delivered during the year, and the recommendation is that you discuss it. And it's also important that you agree on the content of the report. Can we have a proposal, please? Priya, are you proposing the recommendation? Yes. Do we have any questions from anybody? Can we have a show of hands, please? Motion carried. Thank you very much, Martin, for that report on the work of the Standards Committee.
I take this opportunity to note my appreciation for the opportunity to support the work of the authority in this way, and it's been an honour to serve. Thank you. Thank you. Again.
This already.
So the only one in line
So we're now moving on to item 14, twinning agreement between Los Arques National Park and Eryri. So I'm not going to go into detail about the content of the report. Haven't been any. The intention, of course, was that we were going to sign the memorandum of understanding today, but it's not possible, unfortunately. So it changes the recommendation a bit. 4.1 stands as is, that you agree the content of the MOU and twinning agreement. Some changes to 4.2, that is members to agree for the chair to sign the MOU twinning agreement during today's meeting, but that we should delete during today's meeting. The chair will sign at a later date. And then 4.3, members to agree for officers to continue with arrangements for an event during the week of the Wrexham National Eisteddfod to celebrate the twinning. If practical is the wording that I'd like to add to that. Hopefully it will, but we're not sure what the timetable will be. And 4.4 stands as is. That is that members agree that officers continue negotiations to establish collaborative options between the two national parks. Does anybody want to make any comments? Propose the recommendation. Second that. Thank you. Everybody in favour? On to item 15. Page 33. Election of Eryri National Park Authority member to the Ffermio Bro Advisory Panel. Please, we'll be dealing with this one. Good morning, everybody. I'm on screen. My name is on the screen at least, but I'm having a bit of difficulty with the camera this morning. So apologies for that. This is quite a quick item, hopefully. We're looking for a member from the authority to join the Ffermio Bro Advisory Panel, which is the new scheme that has been launched since May. You'll all be aware of it, I'm sure, by now. The staff and officers have been appointed, and the work is ongoing now, and applications are coming in. We foresee that there will be 2 to 3 panels per year, and the role of the member will be to scrutinise or authorise the agreements that are over £10,000 in value. So, you know, you can take the bit between your teeth, so to speak. The Chief Executive has approved that we appoint different people. We have the Chief Executive chairing membership from Fforwm Eryri, Cymdeithas Eryri, Cymdeithas Nature Friendly Farming, a member of the FUW, NFU, NRW, and from our authority. And there will be a member from Monan Llyn as well, because we are providing a service for them as well. Those designated areas. So we're hoping to get a nomination from you today and somebody in reserve, please, so that we can continue with the meetings if somebody were absent. Thank you. Anwen would like to speak. I'd just like to know, do we have to declare an interest in this because we are farm owners?
No
decisions are made. Can I propose John's name then? I can see Heath and his names there. We're a bit close. Teleri is there too. There will be applications coming in. If they're happy to do it, I can't see any problem with my name being submitted, but I'm happy, yes. Can I just ask a question, please? If these referring to a member in reserve. I didn't catch the name, I'm sorry. One thing, she's not here at the moment. If you want to ensure that there's a presence throughout the year, and we could propose Brian's name and the new member when Brian's term comes to an end, and then that would ensure representation throughout the year. Are you happy with that, Brian? That your replacement be there?
The point I was going to say was that looking at the mix of organisations and the balance, I could see the advantage of not having a non-agriculturalist on there with an environmental angle, which would fit what you're talking about.
Yeah, just doing a perspective. Yeah, in fact,
somebody with a different perspective.
Yeah.
So hyn yn rôl naturiol.
If we were scrutinising, then that would be a natural role in my mind. I propose that we nominate Brian for now on the panel and review the situation when we have a new appointment. John Pugh in reserve. Rhys and Hedd. Where do you stand if we would? Where would I stand if we were to submit an application? If an application is submitted, then that's when you would declare an interest. I'll propose Tim then. He has a lot of experience in this field of work. It's difficult to see the clash of interest, but on the other hand, if you felt that you were in a precarious position, then and you would like to take part. So we do have a proposal at the moment from Ivor, and that is that Brian would be appointed and then replaced by the new member and a member in reserve. That is the proposal. Do you have a seconder? What would happen if an application was submitted by a farmer? They put in an application and they have to declare an interest. What is the role that I'd have to take? If I can come in there, the part of the reason why we've had reference to have quite a lot of representatives from agriculture, because it's specific funding that came from the agricultural fund. So there was quite a lot of emphasis on there being an agricultural emphasis here. That's the background. So we will have quite a significant size panel in different areas because we're representing Llyn and Môn, Anglesey, that is. But if there were members with specific interests, then you'd have to declare that. But the panel would be big enough to carry on with business. I'm glad that it is being held in the area. And I hope that the farmers will be stronger than the conservationists. As part of the process, to give you a bit of background, all of the applications will be scored by staff, so there will be recommendations and quite a lot of background work involved with every application. You will be making knowledgeable decisions. So we have a proposal and a seconder. Does anybody want to add anything else? Can we have a show of hands, please? Okay. Motion carried.
Diolch yn fawr, Rhys.
Diolch
Wan, da ni'n 16
Thank
wan,
you.
ia?
He's on to item 16. Catherine Glynn was supposed to present this, but Angela is replacing her, and Angela is joining us on the screen.
Na fo, yeah, sorry.
Yes,
bod
you're
Catrin
in.
methu bod yma bore
Catherine
ma'.
can't
Ella
be
bod
here
yn
this
hyder
morning.
chi
And
cadeirydd a
congratulations,
cadeirydd
Chair and
hefyd,
Vice
chi a
Chair,
Catrin, wrth gwrs.
from myself and
Dwi
Catherine.
jyst yma trio
I'm
darllen y fersiwn
just going
terfynol
to
o cynllun
try
Gynulleidfa.
to
Dach chi wedi
present
gweld yr
the
draft, wrth gwrs, yn
formal
pwyllgor,
or final
a
version
dach
of
chi wedi rhoi
Cynllun yr Wyddfa.
sylwadau arno fo,
You've seen
a
it in the
dach chi
working
gyd yn
group,
reit
and
hapus efo fo.
you were all
Ers hynny,
very
ma'r
happy with it.
wedi
Since then,
anfon y fersiwn
Catherine has
terfynol
sent
i chi ar e-bost.
you
Dwi'n meddwl
the
bod o 'di dod yn
final
barod i
version
chi
on
gyd
email.
ar e-bost, achos
You've
mae ar
already
gwefan
received
ni
it,
yn fyw
and
ar
it's
hyn o
also
bryd.
on our
Gobeithio rydych
website
chi wedi cael
live
yr
at the
amser i
moment.
weld o, achos
Hopefully,
mi
you've been
fydden
able
ni'n
to see it
anhygoel
because
wedi
it really
clywed
looks
yr email mor
fantastic.
dda,
It's been designed
a
so well,
mae'n dogfen reit diddorol i
and
ddarllen.
it's a really interesting
Mae 'na
document
link
to
iddo
read
fo
as
ar
well. There is a
ar
link
tudalen
to it
12.
in your papers on page
Mae e'n mynd i
42.
fod ar wefan ni. Mi
It
oedden ni
will.
mynd i roid o fel y
We were
cyfarfod
going to put
cyhoeddus a
it
gadael o ar
as
agor
a
am
public consultation
4
and leave it
wthnos, ond
open for 4
penderfynu
to
beth
6
ydyn ni
weeks.
wedi
But
penderfynu
what
wneud
we've
ydy
decided
gadael o
to
fel
do
mae
is to
hi.
leave it
Mae
as
o
is.
yna, mae 'di cael ei
It's there.
cydgynhyrchu'r
It's been
dull o
jointly
roid y cynllun yma at ei
produced.
gilydd wedi bod
The
yn
method
pryder mawr, achos
and
mae'r
approach of
dyn
putting
yn cael ei
this plan
cydgynhyrchu
together
efo
has really
hefyd
been
hyd
jointly
sydd yn rhan
produced
ar
with all
gyfer
of the
y swyddfa.
partners that are
Dwi
part
hefyd
of
ers
the
siarad
Wyddfa
efo'r
partnership.
prosiecta, mae Catrin
And
wedi
after
bod
talking to you the
allan,
last
wedi
time,
cynnal
Catherine has been
sesiynnau
out and has
cynllunio
held
yn
drop-in
Llanberis,
sessions in
Byrgelert a
Llanberis,
Waun Fawr.
Byrgelert and Waun Fawr,
Prosiecta wedi bod
and
o
for the
gwmpas
first time has
ysgolion
been
wrth droed
around the
Wyddfa hefyd, a
schools
ma' hwnna 'di
at the
bod yn
foot of the Wyddfa as
sesiynnau
well.
rili bywiol a
And
rili,
those
rili
have
dda.
been really lively and
So be 'dan
beneficial
ni'n penderfynu
sessions.
wneud, achos
So
ma'r
what we've
cynllun
decided,
cyffredin
because
yn
the action
llyfrau
plan
byw, 'dyn ni
is a live
wedi penderfynu
document, we've
gadael o
decided to
yn
leave
ar
it
agor ar y wefan, a
open
ma' 'na
on
modd
the
wedyn o
website,
roid o fewn
and
trwy
then
Microsoft
you can
Forms ar y
feed
wefan.
into
So
it
os
through
rywun wedi
Microsoft
hefo
Forms. So if
diddordeb neu cwestiwn
anybody has an
efo
interest or has questions or
croeso
wants
i
to make a
hyfforddi rhywbeth wedi
comment
cael ei eirio,
on
ma' nhw yn
what
gallu dod
something
syth
on
drwyddo
how
i ni
something's been
efo'r
worded,
sylwadau yna.
they come straight through to us with those
Felly,
comments.
Fel dwi'n
So
dweud, dwi'n rili, wel, yn amlwg 'di Catrin ddim yma, so dwi'n
Catrin
gallu
isn't here,
dodi. Dwi'n
so I
rili
can
falch
praise her.
o'r gwaith mae 'di
I'm
wneud, a mae
really
wedi bod yn
happy and proud of the work that she's
rili
done on
ddifn a
this. It's been
diddorol.
a deep and
Ie,
interesting
os dach chi'n
process.
hapus efo fo,
And if you're
y bwriad
happy with
ydi
it,
bod
the
yn
intention
mabwysiadu
is
fo'n ffurfiol
that we adopt
heddiw,
it formally
wedyn fyddwn
today,
ni'n lawnsio fo ym
and we'll
mis
be launching
Gorffennaf,
it in
wrth gwrs fydd 'na
July.
chi gyd
And
dod
there'll
i'r
be
lawnsoriaeth
an
yna.
invitation for you to come to
Diolch,
the
mae 'di cael
launch,
lot o
the
arbod
formal
braf
launch,
rili
that
da
is.
a
We've had a
gadarnhaol
lot of good
am y
and
proses a
positive
beth sydd
feedback
ar
about the
cynllun arno
process
blynyddoedd
and the
nesaf.
content of the plan for the next 5 years. And thank you very much. Does anybody want to say anything? I just want to support what's been done. Amazing work has been undertaken during the past few weeks, and I'd just like to propose that we accept it and welcome it. Do we have a seconder? Does anybody want to speak? Just quickly, if I may. In conjunction with this, I was looking at different social medias, and there are brilliant vlogs that I've looked at, so that supports this plan. And 3 members of staff have been involved, and it's fantastic. The team behind that really makes me want to go out there and enjoy the area. And we should really listen to them and encourage other people to do so. It's a brilliant production. Anyone else? If not, we'll move on. On to item 17. Bethan Hughes. Thank you very much. It's a requirement every year that we produce the language monitoring report. So you can see from the report that there are 3 parts to it. First of all, there's the executive summary, which summarizes the main issues in relation to the language raised during the year. Then there's a brief summary of our performances against all of these that have been set, and that's a requirement by the Welsh Language Commissioner. And there's also an appendix providing staff information on the authority staff in relation to how many reach the language requirements in with regard to their ability to speak Welsh. I welcome any questions that you may have or any observations. Otherwise, you can see that the recommendation is to approve the report and permit us to publish it on our website. Does anybody want to ask any questions? No, it was good to read the report. And there was a lot of thought to it, and it shows a lot of respect on behalf of the authority to the standards. I just wanted to note that. Under 3.26, relating to courses, there's a comment being made there that there are no courses being held any longer via the provision in Plaster Bwlch. I was just wondering if there's anything else that would come under the definition of course provisions. The Eryri Ambassador, for example, does that come under the definition of courses? In that sense, because it seems as if the authority doesn't offer any training for the public as such otherwise. I just wanted to check that with you as a matter of interest. No, I don't think the modules under the Eryri Ambassador comes under this, because it's an online process where they undertake it voluntarily themselves, and it is bilingual, of course. This is more specific to the language of the tutor that runs the course. And their courses in person that we provide. So the Eryri ambassadors wouldn't come under this, unfortunately. Just in case we're losing an opportunity to promote something else. One more comment, really, which probably shows my lack of understanding as a new member, where language matters are usually drawn to the members. Is it through this annual report only, or is there an update report on complaints? I know that there haven't been complaints, but if there were complaints, where do the members get to know about those usually? In the Performance and Resources Committee, I produce a report on complaints that the authority has received and what has happened with those complaints, and that it goes to the Standards Committee later on. So next month you will get a report based on the complaints that have been to the authority, and that's how you get to know about those. Outside of that, if there are any other language issues with regard to the work that we do to promote the language, it's reported in our corporate work program and under several other projects that are usually reported to the Performance and Resources Committee when those are held. Thank you. So congratulations. This is a brilliant representation of the activity, and I propose that we accept the report. Just one small question with regard to communication. Paragraph 2.8, we're saying that the majority of people 43% believe the injection to the direction would be advantageous. I would expect that to be over 50%. So with regard to the interpretation of that, 43%, it's not the majority of people. I guess it could be misunderstood, that figure in 2.8. Fair enough. I'll give that due attention. Do we have a seconder, please? Can we have a show of hands, please? Item 18.
Felly, dyma'r datganiad llywodraethu blynyddol
So this is our annual report for 2024-25. This document meets the statutory needs for the internal management statement. For the new members who are here today, I hope that you'd like to consider this as a useful document, since it provides a summary of all the important matters which happened over the last financial year in relation to the governance, sorry. It gives you a full report of how the authority works. It's important to note as well that this statement will be part of the final accounts for 24-25 when those will be published. So following up on in item 12 we just heard about, I will update the information under the attendance part, which is on page 79 and 80. Once again, I'd welcome any questions or comments that you have on this report, but you'll see with that change that I would recommend that I'd ask you to approve the statement, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. Would anyone have any questions? Thank you. And apologies, just a question really. I've got two questions really on this report. Once again, Bethan, you took what I was going to start with. This has been very useful for me as a new member, just to give a clear picture of what happened over the past period. And by preparing to be a member, the previous document was just as useful. The question that I have, following on from the previous report, which was presented on the language standards report, which you deferred the reference to compliance with the language standards within this report as well. I think it would be appropriate to do that. It's part of the wider picture of our confirmation with statutory requirements, and I think we could add to it. I don't know if there's any reason why it isn't included. That was my first question, my first comment. Are you happy for me to move on to the second? Just a comment really, as a member who's been appointed by Welsh Government, and on the one recommendation on page 91, to support members in their role. I think that's one of the areas that we as members who have been appointed by Welsh Government, I think that's something that we should give leadership on or give feedback on. I just wanted to raise that was something that I think that it is important to us, especially with 3 new members appointed by Welsh Government in a relatively short period of time. It's not questioned really. I don't expect a response. Just that I've raised that the R1. I think that it's something that we as members should report back on. Tim, I'd like to add as well. I think the level of support that we receive from Welsh Government is excellent. I think, we're not. I think we are appointed and then we're let loose without any leadership. I think that another member has raised this Welsh Government that we should. We're being paid to do a job of work, but we don't receive anything else. I think that the councillors who are here, they understand exactly what their role is with this. I think that is something that should be raised with the Minister once again. We did discuss this, I think 2 days ago, with the Chief Executive and with the Welsh Government. And they have concluded one part. There are 3 parts to it. They're coming back with a report of what they think that we should discuss. These training sessions, and that's it really. that's not enough, really. I think it'd be more that we should get the 3 members on the 3 packs together to set out exactly what we should do on behalf of the Welsh Government. And the second thing that I wanted to raise, 68 and 69, stop the consultation. When you mentioned consultation, I think we missed a trick there. That's something that we could have included, is the class and the sessions that we held with Plaston both, because that is had been quite an in-depth consultation. We've held 2 sessions, and there's another one coming up quite soon. And those have been good examples, really, of how the people have heard people's views and how they've worked with people to reach a certain aim. Brian.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, my comment relates to page 92, and it also relates to the question of support and the role for independent members. That I support the comments made earlier. But there's reference here to the WLGA and the question of local authorities and Welsh government and how that works. I'm wondering whether there's been any progress on that and whether we have actually been involved in any review or scrutiny of that process, which is referred to in the responses.
Yeah,
I'm not aware that there's much movement on that matter. Has there been further discussions on that? Yes, the other day, yes. I think that everybody puts their proposals in and then they take it back and they've said they wanted a statement for how they appointed people as councillors in the same manner that the one the Welsh Government had appointed. And there was discussion on how the leader of the council shouldn't appoint people to the PAC, that it should be, the whole council should appoint people to the PAC rather than the leader. But it's the thing is, if that happened today, I think 9 members for Plaid Cymru would be on the PAC from Gwynedd Council. If the leader he considers how many members are on the council. I mean, if the leader appointed, he could appoint them all as members. They'd all be appointed from Plaid Cymru. It's better that we do it in this manner, because we wouldn't have the independence members on the authority as we have now. So we've got a better cross-section of those who are elected to the council. So that does happen, but they're coming back with it. They were bringing a report back to us. What strikes me really, at the next meeting of the authority, maybe we should provide an update so that you consider it as members.
Thank you, Chair, for that response. My point wasn't just directed at this authority, because if I recall correctly, that came out of survey and discussions through some of the members' training, probably 18 months, 2 years ago. So I was just wondering where the Welsh Government had got to, and the local government in a general sense, rather than just in relation to our local situation. So I think to have some formal report back to the authority would be welcomed, although I won't be here.
Iawn, Owen, dyn ni isio...
Right.
Ar 16 ie? Is
everybody happy? Can I? Oh, sorry, Bethan.
Sorry, ga I just mynd yn ôl chydig a just
Can I just
ateb y cwestiwn
go
gyntaf?
back and answer the first question with the language standards? As you can see, the document is quite long, and we could include a number of things. There's no specific reason why the Welsh language standards aren't included as a heading, but I accept the comment here. It's very important with the regards to governance. I'm more than happy to add it.
O rhan yr argymelliad, os
Regards to the recommendation, if you don't have any further comments, we could change it slightly and include them dependent that if I update the attendance, the members' attendance, I should add an extra heading on language standards and also add the consultation which was held with Plas Tan y Bwlch under that heading. You know, dependent on the inclusion of those points, the recommendation is for you to approve the statement. Thank you. Anyone like to propose that we adopt it? Can we have a show of hands, please? We'll now move on to item 19. And the report of the independent remuneration. You want to taking this? It's a very concise report following on from the report which was presented to the authority back in November. At that time, there was a draft report. The authority decided to accept the report. We have now received the final report. The obligations with resources. The recommendation is that we note the contents of the report. Does anyone like to propose? We've got a seconder here. Does anyone like to say anything? Make any comments? Nobody on the screen? No? Can we have a show of hands then, please? That's gone through. We move on to the so this is the report on the social partnership duty. This is a new duty as part of the Social Partnership and Public Procurement Wales Act. It's not just but that the pact should try to meet a consensus with its duties to reach a consensus with members of different partnerships on well-being objectives. In paragraph 2, I've set out the statutory requirements in more detail. And in paragraph 3, I've mentioned the further duties. I don't intend to go through it in any detail, but in paragraph 4 sets out the annual report, the authority's annual report. Due to the way that the Act is set out, it asks for an annual report to our wellbeing strategies, which are set out each 5 years. So I'm just warning, you know, don't expect a lot of it for 4 years. Maybe there could be a lot of changes within 1 year, but I have that we foresee that the process for annual reviewing will start in 2026-27 financial year, when we'll set out the wellbeing objectives for 27 onwards. We discussed it earlier with John. With formal constitution, I have consulted with local authority in March, on the 14th of March, and that, you know, I also extended it, even though it's not a requirement of the Act, to the authority staff forum, which I thought was good practice. And it was also discussed with the staff forum on the 28th of May, 2025. So the recommendation really is that the authority formally agrees on the contents of this annual report to be submitted to the Social Partnership Council as the authority's annual report for the financial year 24-25. Anyone like to propose to agree with the recommendation? Would anyone like to ask a question? Everyone, can we have a show of hands? Thank you. We're skipping 21-22 because we've already dealt with those. So we move on to 23, Homeless and Resources Committee minutes, which was held on the 9th of April, 2025. Anyone like to propose that they're a correct record? Anyone like to second? John, anyone like to ask a question? And the Standards Committee. 11th of April. We've gone on to 25 now. I propose that they're a correct record. Anyone like second? Any question? Everyone in favour? So we'll move on to 20. And the meetings of other organisations, item 26. It's 26, yes. You did say 28, yes. What about the members' working reports, item 24? Have I missed that, have I? Well, we'll deal with this first. The 24. Members' Working Group Report, which was held on the 9th of April. We'll move on. Meeting of other organisations on 26. Has anybody attended? Have you represented the PAC at any meetings? Tim has got his hand up. Meeting held a fortnight ago, which was very interesting. Talking about different things, including the problems that we have with people getting lost on the Wyddfa and the potential a new path is being developed which avoids going up Victoria Terrace in Llanberis. Because this is, and in my opinion, the development of the path is a very, very good idea. Anyone else? Everyone happy? Okay, we move on to item 27. And this is when Nia will leave the meeting. Nia needs to leave for this item because you've declared an interest, because it's with regards to the director of the finalize the shortlist. The appointment this afternoon.
Mae'n opsiwn yn ei ffigynta, felly
the report that you have in front of you, item 27. The parts that are relevant is they're relevant to the specific individuals.
materion yn o'n list o swydd Caernarfon. Yr argymhelliad ydy...
So the recommendation is the three of the report to appoint the Director of Land Management.
Iawn, gen i gynnig. Gen i cynnig i fewn eilio.
So, iawn, ydyn ni... Bod ar recordio di ben o'n...
We can bring the recording to an end. We just ask Rob to end the recording now. Do the members of the public have to leave? We haven't reached that point yet. We haven't reached this item yet.
That's kind of on materion sydd yn ymwneud efo'r pecyn. Mae da eiliad o gael, da ni'n stopio'r recordio gyntaf.
I'm just stopping the recording first now.
Ni'n ei drafod yr drefn.
And we'll discuss how we're going to do this.
Wedyn. Cos dwi'n eisiau...
Reit.
Ond gadwch cyfeiliad yn hwyl, so stop cyfeiliad.
No, of course.